So far, I've introduced you to some excellent problem-solving tools, and you should have a better sense of how to focus on answers instead of problems. Now I'd like to introduce you to the idea of moving beyond problem-solving and into transformation. The most powerful way I learned to awaken myself was through a deepened awareness of God, which occurred when I began genuinely listening to God. This began as a conversation with God and deepened into communion. This requires no special talent or training, merely the desire to be fully present and to listen with your heart. Ask and ye shall receive. We are not separate from universal intelligence and divine love. It's a part of our own being. Ask a question, then quietly listen for the answer. You'll know when you're listening to God because the answer will be loving and compassionate. If God is love, how could the answer be anything else? 3 elements are required for moving beyond problem-solving and into transformation. My definition of transformation is essentially the ongoing experience of heaven on earth. 1. Communion with all that is through gratitude. 2. Conscious awareness of divine love in all things. 3. Nurturance of life. Communion with all that is through gratitude is a conscious realization that everything in life is perfect for your growth, because every experience perfectly mirrors your thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes. Therefore, whatever you're experiencing is for your benefit. If there's something you no longer care to experience, bless it and make a new choice. Pain comes from denying our own creations because it isn't what's happening to you but how you react to what's happening that defines who you are and whether or not you live your life with joy. Communion through gratitude is the heartfelt recognition that every moment of life, without exception, is supporting your growth. It's the understanding that every single experience is divinely orchestrated for your highest good and for the highest good of all, regardless of the outward appearance. Gratitude is a vital aspect of love that powerfully establishes your relationship with God. If you are consistently grateful for everything in your life without labeling anything good or bad, then you will experience God as supportive. And through this feeling of being loved and supported, you will attract transformative experiences into your life. In a recent communion with God, I received information that made this very clear. Feel love's presence. Love is closer than your own thoughts. Nothing is as it seems, nothing, because everything is an interpretation, how you say it is. The way to change what you're seeing is to listen to what love says it is. You don't have to understand a situation because, quite frankly, it's impossible to understand from your position. Imagine a chess set and a game is being played, but rather than being above, observing all the pieces, you are one of the pieces. Whatever piece you choose to be, king, queen, pawn, it doesn't matter. In fact, every piece is a player. So there you are playing in the chess game of life, trying to manipulate and negotiate, trying to win the game when in fact you have no perspective. Now imagine that God is on your side. Imagine that everything is set up to win. Really, who could beat God? But there you are, jumping up and down, trying to direct traffic, yet you can't see the forest through the trees or the king through the pawns. As long as you're focused on the board, external experiences, and the ones around you, you're going to feel frustrated sometimes, okay others, and downright suicidal from time to time. You may have a particular knight in shining armor standing right next to you, and you become so enamored with him you forget you're playing a game. You move right into a place of wanting to fix him, wanting him to stay with you and keep you company forever and ever. Yet despite your perspective, the chess game continues, the knight is moved, you think, he left me, and you are heartbroken, mainly because you think you're not worth loving, or maybe you are moved and you feel guilty for leaving. Now try to understand that no one has ever left you, nor have you ever left anyone. God simply moved the players around. In chess, you may sacrifice one player for another in order to move into a better position to win. Remember, the root of the word sacrifice is to make sacred. So no matter how chaotic or repetitious, you are sacred. But you keep thinking, God must not be paying attention. Yet you say God is all-knowing, all-powerful and eternal, that God is all-loving. Isn't that what's written in all the sacred texts, stated over and over by all the masters? Keep knowing that every moment of your life is sacred, divinely orchestrated for your highest good and the highest good of all. And remember, God only plays win-win. Conscious awareness of divine love in all things is the absolute expectation that everything is exactly as it should be, serving its highest purpose and in its fullest expression of present perfection. It is the expectation of good. Saying it's all good is the same as saying it's all God. It is the perception that life is perfect in its expression, regardless of appearance, because life flows from perfection and is an extension of God. Conscious awareness is calling forth the perception of perfection in all things. No matter what occurs, simply observe. Allow yourself to be the silent witness. Bless every event and call it perfect. When I first tried to be consciously aware of divine love in all things, I found myself unwilling to forgive and stuck in old patterns of judgment. So I simply asked Spirit for help, and here's the answer I received. The only blocks are the blocks that stop you from feeling God's love. You need go no further. Simply choose to feel God's love and your willingness clears all the blocks away. That's all there is to it. Feel God's love and everything else will fall into place. What if you're not stuck at all? What if you're not blocked at all? What if you simply are being asked to embrace present perfection? Could it be that simple, that basic? Yes. What if everything is moving along according to divine plan? What if blocks are just a belief, part of Maya, the illusion? What if be here now means feel God's love no matter what the circumstances may be? Be conscious of God. Just stay conscious, ever mindful. The choice to see and feel God overrides any earthly blocks, issues, cellular memory, anything whatsoever, and you move directly into grace, divine intervention. Stuck is a choice. Simply unchoose being stuck or blocked and choose God. Keep saying to yourself, I choose God, I choose love, I choose peace. God, love, and peace will choose you as always. Say to yourself, I am willing to feel and experience that nothing can block me from God's love, for I am love made manifest. I am divine love in expression. God would not exist without me. If God could not exist without you, don't you think that God is vitally aware of every event and every thought you have? The only problem is that you think if you're not paying attention to God, then God's not paying attention to you. How could God be paying attention with an entire universe to run? This is because you see God in your image. You think you're alone with all your own little problems, that you have moments of insight, but then it's back to reality. When in fact, the insight is reality, and what you call reality is something you make up every day. This is a difficult thing to see for those who are goal-oriented. Even manifesting is a goal. The trick is to have no goals. Feel God's love and simply allow everything to fall into place. Love is in the dream and love is in the nightmare. Love is gently asking each one to wake up and come home. You will feel God's love when you no longer outline what it should look like. All is love. So a block is love in action. Resentment is love in action. Guilt is love in action. Victimhood is love in action. How can this be? Because every thought, idea, or event is there for the sole purpose of bringing you home. Love is reflected in love. But understand this: love is reflected in hate. When someone is hateful, angry, resentful, they are actively learning about love. They are learning what it feels like to forget themselves, their own dear, sweet, sacred self. When you can recognize love in the midst of hatred, resentment, guilt, when you can see love's handiwork no matter what has happened, then you will know with all your heart that you are never separate from God, never separate from divine love. Hatred is only a distortion of love. See through the distortion and see love present in every moment, every activity, and in every encounter. And it's this recognition that allows the one feeling separate to come home. There are no missed opportunities, no mistakes. God does not make mistakes. Even when you make a mistake, love did that. Love is the reason that everything is as it is. Just stop trying to change perfection. You look at the world and see chaos and think, that can't be God. God's not chaotic. But God is chaotic. Love is chaotic. You're just the one who thinks it should be different. Don't you think it seems a bit chaotic to a caterpillar to turn into liquid before becoming a butterfly? If the caterpillar knew what was coming, do you think he'd ever spin a cocoon and be stupid enough to stay in there? Fortunately, caterpillars trust God. And that's why we have butterflies. Nurturance of life is honoring that all creation, from the infinitesimal to the infinite, is the expression of expanding intelligence flowing from God, divine love. We nurture life by observing without judgment, without an attachment to an outcome, and by being lovingly detached. This is living in a state of harmlessness, or as Jesus said, returning blessing for cursing. This is harmlessness in thought, word, and deed. When you are nurturing life, loving all that is, you will naturally feel yourself in the universal flow of goodness. You'll consistently find yourself in the right place at the right time, attracting experiences of abundance and loving support. This doesn't mean you'll never experience difficulties. It just means that you will move through them effortlessly and easily. If you observe life as the flow of energy, then it is similar to rivers flowing to the sea. In the same way that water finds its way back to the ocean, all energy, even energy filled with negativity or malicious intent, is flowing outward seeking higher expression. Nurturance of life is holding absolute clarity and the consistent intention to be here now. Notice that if you're really present, not thinking about the past or projecting into the future, the only thing in this moment is love. If you are having an experience that seems devoid of love, call love forth. Say to yourself, I am willing to feel love's presence in this moment. Then simply observe as your reality begins to shift to include love. When I first began working with the idea of calling love forth, I found I'd often forget that I knew a better way, and I'd be thrown into an old emotional response rather than asking love to be present. So I asked, how do I stay conscious of unconditional love in the midst of an argument? Keep choosing love. Keep choosing the higher path, the more loving solution. There are little tiny choices you make every moment of each day. These choices don't seem particularly important or life-changing, and they're not emotionally charged like an argument. They're seemingly little choices, like how do you choose to feel about whatever is popping into your mind? How do you feel when you think about someone being unfair? You cannot change what occurred, but you can change your perception of what happened in this moment. There's only one purpose in all relationships, and that is to remember that each relationship is sacred because every relationship reflects you to your own sacred self. The only relationship you will ever have is your relationship with me. It is your relationship with divine love, with passionate life, with infinite unchanging truth that creates your relationship with all beings. Look for me, search for me, know me in each and every encounter. See me so powerfully that each one you touch feels this recognition and senses the memory of something deeply profound. See beyond the games, see beyond the players, and see the heart of the beloved. Simply observe with love. Is it not easier to see another as not enough, to see what they lack, the lessons as yet unlearned, than to experience their grandeur? Look at nature if you would be the non-judgmental witness. Creation moves at its own pace. It gives and takes, destroys and rebuilds, kills and creates, yet you do not judge. It simply is what is so. And when you do try to pass judgment by helping the chick out of the egg or the butterfly from its cocoon, you kill the inhabitant. If you have learned to let nature take its course, if you can see that struggle is an integral part of growth, strength, and beauty, why are you so afraid of your own struggle, and why would you try to save another from their own struggle? Only judgment sees through the eyes of futility or resentment or disinterest. Love embraces all as perfect. In birth and death, love is there, ever present, unchanging. Allow yourself to be devoured by the enemy, and you will have nothing to do but come home to me. In the same way that there is a fine line between love and hate, there is a fine line between dysfunction and mastery. First, you learn to stop being the unconscious victim, and then you learn to be the willing victim. Why? Because in the jaws of the lion, in the teeth of the shark, in that moment of emotional death, you will come to know that love is as infinite and eternal as you are, and an illusion will never be more or less than what it is, false evidence appearing real. Death is only an appearance. You have rejected people who would harm you, walked away before more damage could be done, and this was perfect. It gave you strength and insight. Now try going down in flames and being the phoenix rising from the ashes. Let the pain tear down the walls that you have built around your heart. Be crushed and burned until you have been refined in the flame of love. You are here not to find true love, but to transmute darkness into light, anger into peace, resentment into kindness, and ignorance into divine wisdom. If you allow yourself to die, instead of struggling to maintain your position, you allow yourself and the other person to move more quickly out of pain and fear and into your true compassionate nature. By not defending yourself, you create an opening for love's presence. Right and wrong are meaningless, and both contain elements of the other. It is in your defenselessness that the other person will be reminded of his true nature, which is loving, kind, and compassionate. And by consistently choosing to be harmless, you will remember your true nature as well, regardless of the circumstances. If you consistently choose defenselessness and harmlessness in your thinking as you go about your daily routine, this choice will create a new pattern in your consciousness. You will naturally act from this conscious repatterning, even when in conflict, because you will be practicing it daily. Do you have any idea how many people pray to know me, beg for my love, plead for my kindness and compassion? Yet they continually are looking out there, hoping their prayers will be granted, that God will be merciful. You are God's mercy. Be merciful and experience yourself as mercy. Be compassionate and you will know me in your heart. Be passionate and know me in your life. Be all that you ask for and it will be granted. You cannot know me fully until you have walked through the fiery furnace, been cast into the lion's den, and crucified upon the cross. For it is only in knowing your darkest hour and your willingness to die to all that is unreal that you will come home to eternal life, love everlasting. Abide in the secret place of the Most High, and you shall rise on the wings of eagles.